This short video will help any potential candidates understand the requirements for obtaining a BRAMM FIXER licence. For more details, please read the full pre-assessment information form, which is available on the BRAMM website. Please note, the test is only suitable for experienced memorial fixers and is designed to prove competence installing a new lawn memorial only, not a refix. More and more burial authorities are asking for proof of competence from memorial masonry firms. The BRAMM FIXER licence assessment is in two parts. First, the theory part, which is an online assessment comprised of 56 questions with multiple choice tick box answers and tests the knowledge and understanding of British Standard 8415. Secondly, practical assessment, which demonstrates erecting a 2-foot 3-inch memorial to a certain method found in the BRAMM Blue Book. FIXER candidates will be required to be familiar with the BRAMM Blue Book and have either a paper copy or a digital copy on their phone available for reference. The online assessment is an open book assessment in which the candidate is to achieve a score of 100%. Fixers are able to have 3 attempts. There is no time limit, but you must have access to a computer, laptop or tablet to do the assessment. A mobile phone screen will be too small. For clarity, the new BRAMM FIXER licence assessment criteria require proof of competence of every candidate fixing a 2-foot 3-inch lawn memorial on a foundation with an accredited ground anchor. BRAMM will now record photographic evidence of the correct size foundations and anchor holes, plus correct size dowel holes and dowels being used on the assessment, as these are key components of British Standard 8415. In all, about 30 proof of evidence photographs will be taken demonstrating correct process. The overall time for the practical assessment is to be less than 1.5 hours, in line with professional competency for an experienced memorial fixer. BRAMM strongly recommend that you have a full practice a few days before the assessment. You can ask someone to check your measurements and take some photos. On the practical assessment, there are 4 parts: induction and on-site risk assessment, measurements, fixing, and feedback. This form will be completed by the candidate on the day of the assessment, after the assessor has pointed out where the memorial is to be erected. The risk analysis multiplied by severity analysis gives a risk assessment score. It is the highest score in any one area that counts. Lower than 8 is a low risk and the assessment can take place. This shows the points considered in the risk assessment. Finally, the candidate is to read and sign the declaration. On the assessment day, you must bring a 2-foot 3-inch headstone and base and a reinforced concrete foundation measuring 3 by 36 by 18 inches. Please note, no trough foundations are allowed. You will also need an accredited ground anchor and the manufacturer's written instructions showing the sizes of the holes required and 150 by 16 mm stainless steel dowels. You will also need a copy of the BRAMM Blue Book. As a minimum, you need to bring the items listed. You are required to bring the correct personal protective equipment. Again, the list is just the minimum requirements. BRAMM has provided a step-by-step guide on what will happen on the day. Please read all the details. Following photos are examples of how your portfolio will look. It is your responsibility as the candidate to make sure that the holes have been checked in advance of the assessment to be fully compliant with British Standard 8415 and the BRAMM Blue Book. For example, if you come with a 25mm dowel hole in your headstone, it should be 20mm diameter, this will lead to an automatic fail. Your company will not be reimbursed. BRAMM is very transparent in what it is asking for. There are no trick questions. BRAMM is merely seeking proof of competency in the erecting of a lawn memorial, Scottish Standard 8415. BRAMM strongly recommend that you have a full practice a few days before the assessment. You can ask someone to check your measurements and take some photos. The following words above each photo are the instructions to the assessor. Please read and understand what the requirements are before the assessment. You will be asked for the manufacturer's instructions for the ground anchor. The assessor will check the loading of your vehicle. Section 2 of the assessment relates to measurements. The foundation slab will be measured. In this photograph, the assessor is allowing the candidate up to 2mm tolerance for the assessment to continue. If you bring a memorial that is not compliant to British Standard 8415, the assessment will be automatically cancelled. BRAMM does not wish this to happen, so please check all the hole sizes before you come to the assessment. The protruding dowel will also be measured and a picture taken. The dowels will be measured with a tape measure and vernier gauge. The diameter of the holes in the base of the memorial will also be measured. A vernier gauge will be used to measure the correct diameter of the ground anchor hole and checked against the manufacturer's instructions. The diameter of the ground anchor hole in the foundation will also be measured. Section 3 of the assessment is the fixing. Once the assessor has checked all the measurements of the memorial, the actual fixing begins. Ideally, the candidate should place cones or similar to define their work area. This is not a requirement, but failure to do so will be noted on the feedback form. This photo illustrates laying a string line using the 2 mock wooden bases and measuring the centre of the grave, exactly 4 foot. The candidate digs the foundation hole. Here, the candidate is using a tamper to prepare the site. The foundation is to be level and firm. The candidate is asked to drill a hole on a blind spot on the foundation to the correct diameter for their ground anchor. This is measured for accuracy with a vernier gauge and tape measure. It is important to show the candidate can drill a hole accurately, otherwise the ground anchor and dowels don't work. The ground anchor is driven through the foundation. The assessor then measures the centre of the memorial when the ground anchor has been hammered home, which should be exactly 4 foot away from the centres of both mock bases. If the measurement is more than 2 inches from the 4 foot measurement, the candidate will be asked to remove the ground anchor and reposition the foundation correctly. This checks that the candidate can erect a memorial in the correct place. The foundation slab is prepared for the cement. The assessor will check the consistency of the cement. The candidate then applies the cement. The candidate and assistant will then place the base on the anchor and check the alignment. The candidate then cements the dowel holes and the dowels in the headstone. Correct manual handling methods are to be used to lift the memorial onto wooden skids. The candidate will need to check the positioning of the headstone. The memorial will be checked to ensure it is upright. The candidate will also use a spirit level to check the base is level. The memorial is then to be pointed and the excess cement removed, leaving a finished memorial. Finally, after the memorial has been landscaped and dusted down, the assessor will carry out a final check for alignment and equal distance of the base and headstone. If any measurement is more than 5 millimetres out, then the candidate is given an opportunity to put this right. If this is not possible, then the candidate will fail the assessment. The assessor will verbally inform you whether you have passed the assessment and give any constructive feedback. The candidate will also have the opportunity to give feedback. You will be asked to rate the assessment and make any other relevant comments. Finally, the candidate will be asked to take down the memorial, clean off all the cement and reinstate the ground to its original condition. They will then reload the memorial and tools onto their vehicle. This will all contribute to your portfolio that will be sent for checking by the BRAMM internal quality auditor and a copy emailed to your employer. BRAMM strongly recommend that you have a full practice a few days before the assessment. You could ask someone to check your measurements and take some photos. If you have any questions about the process, please feel free to ask your assessor before the assessment. Thank you.